kids. Like I said before, my dad died when I was 8 years old. I'm the oldest of four kids. All have the same mom and dad. And when my dad died, it was like losing my best friend. I didn't take it out. I didn't handle it very well. I ended up taking it out on my brother a lot. I used to pick on him really hard, bully him. And there was one time that my mom, I guess I was probably about 14, 15 years old, mom pulls me into the kitchen. She says, I need to show you something. She showed me this story, whatever my brother had wrote. He had an assignment at school that he had to write about someone he looked up to. And my mom had me read this paper because my brother had wrote about me. Had wrote about how he looked up to me as a father figure, and he hung on my every word and things like that, And I remember in that moment thinking to myself, how could someone love someone so much with all the pain and suffering I've caused him? All the bullying I did to him, how could he look up to me? And I realized, I guess, more in that moment, the more I look back at it, that people are looking at us every day, watching our movements, watching our actions, trying to figure out who we are. Not just trying to figure out who we are for them, but they want to know because they want to know. I think we're all looking for someone that we can feel safe around. Someone we can feel that they're not going to judge us. And it's hard to do that. It's hard to find somebody in this world whenever the world is the way it is. With all the frustration and the aggravation and the mistrust, the abandonment issues that we all have because of people that are no longer in our lives anymore. I remember another time when my brother was older, I guess 2 or 3 years before he passed. I guess about 4 or 5 years before he passed, something like that. My brother called me up one day and he says, "What you doing?" I said, "Nothing." He says, "Well, get dressed. I'm coming to pick you up." "Where are we going?" "I'm not telling you." "Maybe I don't want to go." "Just get dressed. I'm coming to pick you up." "All right." He's my little brother, and I always try to be there for him. Anytime they ever called, my brother or my sisters, anytime they called, I would hop. I didn't do it just with him. I did it for just about anybody that would call me. So I got dressed. He came and picked me up, and as I got in the car, I'm like, "Where are we going?" "I'm not telling you." Okay. I know when people do that because you never know where they're going to take you. Mind starts wandering, and I'm thinking, this is it. He's decided he's done with me. He's taking me somewhere and going to get rid of me. He drives over to the lake, and when we get there, we get out of the car and we walk over to this, for lack of a better word, monument or whatever. It's not really a monument, it's more of I can't think of the word exactly it's called. But it was a memorial. It was a memorial for this kid and his dad that had drowned in the water on the lake right there. My brother says that kid was one of my students in my class. He says whenever that happened, it broke me hard. It was really hard to. He says, I watched this kid. I taught this kid. I loved this kid. He said, and for this to happen to him, it just was so hard. And I said, "I'm so sorry, brother, that you're going through that." I said, "Why did you call me up, though? Why did you want me to come with you? I mean, you could have had your wife. You could have had your boys. You could have had Tara or April, who you're probably much closer with. That's our sisters. So you could have Aunt Prague. There's so many different people that you talk to more than you talk to me that you could have had go with you to this. Why did it have to be me?" He says, "I didn't need anybody else." He said, "I needed my big brother." that moment there, man, I tried to hold it together, and I didn't think about it so much then, I guess, but I think about it a lot now, and I just start crying to myself. My brother, all these years, have been trying to connect with me, trying to understand my life, wanting to be part of it. And I tried to let him in, but I guess a lot of times I was alone myself. I didn't want to feel whatever. Now that he's passed, I see all these things that we could have done together. The people we could have reached together. When he was in the hospital right there, he died because he had lung problems, and his lungs ended up giving out on him. They told him he was going to have a lung transplant. Lung transplant fell through. I only talked to him twice on the phone before he passed in the hospital. I remember that last time he called me, he's like, brother, he says, my singing career is over. He said, I can't even really play the guitar anymore. He says, I don't know what I'm going to do. He says, even if I get this lung surgery and stuff, he says, I don't think I'll ever be able to do what I used to do. And I told him, brother, it's okay. I said, I'll be there with you. I'll help you. You play the music on your guitar and I'll sing if needs be. We'll do this together, brother. He didn't say a whole lot. He was just, I knew he was scared. And of course, in my mind and my belief, I was like, he's going to be fine. He's going to get out of this. He's going to be just fine. He'll be home. He'll be back to like. And I got the call that he's in the hospital. I lived 2 hours away at the time, so I just drove. I drove all the way to the hospital in the dark. Well, not quite in the dark. It was in the dark when I get there, and it was a little late getting to the hospital. By the time I got to the hospital, visiting hours were over, so my wife and I scraped the money we had. I stayed in a hotel that night, planning on going to see him in the morning. But during the night, things apparently got worse, and he got transferred to another hospital by Caraflight. So I ended up having to go to that hospital. By the time I got to go and see my brother, he was already in a coma. They put him in an induced coma. They put him on the machine, was breathing for him 100%. The doctors came and told us, they said, you got to make a choice because he can't stay on this machine. Y'all gonna have to make a choice to pull the plug or not. And of course, she asked the question, well, what's the chances? What's the chances of when we pull the plug of him surviving? I said, none. I said, it probably wouldn't be long after the plug was pulled, he would breathe his last breath. Being told something like that about your little brother, that you won't be able to talk to him anymore, that you won't be able to hold him anymore, tell him everything's going to be okay. We sat in that room that they had us in for probably an hour discussing on whether or not we should pull the plug, which was aggravating me so much because I'm like, why are we debating this? We know what we need to do. At this point here, we know what's going to happen. Whether we pull the plug or not, it's going to happen. And then they came to us later on and they said, would your brother like to be an organ donor? So that'd be great. Well, I always thought that'd be awesome. That'd be an organ donor, And they did the hero walk for him and everything. It was amazing. And then two people, they weren't able to use all of his organs because they couldn't find anybody or something. But there are two people now that are able to see for the first time in their life because of my brother's gift. And I think that's amazing.